My name is Reverend Asha Burson Johnson. My personal pronouns are she, her, and it is my joy and my honor to be with you once again on a Wednesday Wisdom Talk. Our talk title or topic this evening is perfect or perfection, and we'll get into that in just a minute. I'm going to start each talk from now on with a little prayer. We call it affirmative prayer. It's not a beseeching or a begging. It is a stepping into the knowing of what is and what is possible. So if you choose, I invite you to close your eyes. I step into the powerful presence of the one life that goes by a multitude of names and a multitude of expressions. The one life that is all life, connecting every cell, atom, molecule, tree, plant, rock, person, creature, planet, universes together. This one life that animates all things, activates all things that have ever been and are yet to be are residing right now in this one life. And I know that I am a part of this one life, as is every person, every being, every entity everywhere. There is no thing that is separate from this one life. I step into this deep knowing and the space of remembering, which means coming back together again in this time with this talk. I'm grateful to know that whatever wants to be said or known through me, as me, expresses uniquely and perfectly. I know that there is a space made for each person who is listening to my words. There's a space created within them, an openness, a willingness, and a curiosity that each person has within them the wisdom to move forward in their own lives, to discover something new and different and even more perfect about themselves and the world around us. And in deep gratitude for this knowing, for this time together, for this experience of speaking my word, speaking the word of the one life, spirit, love, as me, I can simply let go and trust the process. And so it is. So perfect. It's a really interesting word. We take it to mean without flaw often. We need to do things perfectly without any mistakes. We forget that mistakes, are merely research and development in our lives. No science experiment went perfectly the first time. They try, they adjust, they correct, they research some more, and then they keep trying until they get the desired result. And as human beings, we are much the same. But we forget that. We think we're supposed to know everything and do it perfectly the first time. We forget that as children, as babies, we had to do things over and over again. We had to stumble and fall countless numbers of times. And if we did that with our adult mind, we would have given up a long time ago. We say in our philosophy that the one life is perfect. And because each of us are a part of this one life, much like a teaspoonful of ocean contains all of the components of the ocean within it, we contain all the possibilities and the components of this one life within us. And as we continue to discover that and unfold what is perfect within us, which is everything, life becomes a little smoother, not easy, not without challenges. On my phone, I have a little thing that comes up whenever I open my screen that says perfectly imperfect. That's a phrase that has gotten bandied about a lot these days, thankfully through Brene Brown's work. She has the gift of imperfection, which has opened so many of us up to the gifts within the imperfections. And I like to take imperfect and split that word apart. Imperfect, I'm perfect. In our imperfections, in our flaws, in our research and development, we are doing life perfectly as we know it in this moment. That doesn't mean things won't change and things won't be different later. But in each moment, I believe that each of us is doing the best we know how to do. Sometimes it's not very good. Sometimes it's not graceful or loving or kind. Sometimes it's the exact opposite. And most of us are doing the best we know how to do in each moment. Oprah always says, when we know better, we do better, which means we learn and grow and change. Winston Churchill said, to improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. We're never done. Even when we leave this plane of existence, we're not done. I remember vividly when I was younger, I kept waiting to find the answer, the right thing, the thing that would change me just enough so that I could accept my whole self. One more piece of wisdom, one more learning, one more piece of information, one more process, one more workshop, one more book to fix the whatever I felt was wrong or off about me so that I could actually be perfect, so that I could be my full spiritual self and release my humanity. What I've come to know now is that it is our humanity that makes us perfect right now. If spirit didn't want us to be in a body, in humanity, we wouldn't be here. We'd be a bug or a rock or a mountain. We'd be something else. And here we are, in all of our messy humanity, expressing perfectly, expressing to the best of our ability in any given moment. And if we're curious and open and creative, when we get stuck, as we all do, we seek ways to become unstuck. Outside perspectives, some other point of view, a new idea, not so that we can erase all of our flaws or erase whatever's wrong with us, but to get unstuck so we can move forward, maybe just a couple of steps at a time. During this time of the pandemic, life has been challenging for everyone. And I found myself stuck often during these last couple of years. How do I move forward? What can I do? So my mantra became, can I do the next 10 minutes? Sometimes thinking about how to do the day or the week or the month became overwhelming. Can I do the next 10 minutes? Can I pay attention in the next 10 minutes to what is working, what is possible, what is, in fact, perfect? An author named Alice Walker said, in nature, nothing is perfect and everything is perfect. Trees can be contorted, bent in weird ways, and they're still beautiful. I don't remember the quote offhand, but there's a beautiful quote about how the flowers of the field aren't competing with each other. The rose is being the rose, and the tulip, and the daffodil, and the meager daisy or dandelion is being that. And in each of them, they are being their perfect expression. The plants are being the plants. The trees are being the trees. Whatever shape they are, alive or appearing dead, they're doing their life perfectly. For us, each phase of our life has its own beautiful perfection. My life is extremely different from when I was in my teens, my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. And I'm sure that's the same for you. Yes, there are parts that I wish could be different, as lithe as I was back then, but I'm wiser than I was back then, and I wouldn't trade that for anything, not even less pain in my arm. So, are we willing to look deeply into ourselves, root out all of the parts that up until now we may have viewed as imperfect, wrong, not good enough, needing to be fixed or removed, or at least crushed down into the darkness where they can't bother anybody? Are we willing to be curious about what these parts are for, how they are for us, how they may have helped us in the past, but no longer need to do that job anymore, and maybe can be freed to do something else? How do they work in concert with the parts of ourselves that we prefer to enhance and grow our life? If I just engage my artist creativity, then I'm going to be out painting and making beautiful scenes in houses and buildings. I'm going to be doing all kinds of things, but I'm probably not going to make sure dinner gets on time on the table if I'm engaging just my artist self. But if I'm also engaging my need to get things done, stay with commitments part, the part that likes to be on time, then I'm going to make sure dinner gets on the table when I say it will. The doubting part of myself keeps me from being too proud. There's nothing wrong with being proud of who we are and enjoying and loving who we are. But that part of myself that doubts myself has me time and time again come back to what's really true about me, what's really good about me. And I know that's the same for you, even when we forget. And if you don't have anyone to remind you how beautiful you are, how perfect you are, then check in with me, because I absolutely know that you are enough right as you are, and that you will continue to grow and change. To be perfect is to change often. Take a breath. The old definition of perfection or being perfect is terrifying. The new definition includes mistakes, research and development, and a discovery of the fullness of who we are, not just the surface, not just the glossy. I am grateful to know that in this moment, we are continuing to unearth our own perfection. What is perfect about each of us is that we exist. And then if we choose, we can continue to discover, how can I show up as myself in this world, and as a result, be a positive ripple wherever I go. When I did my meditation on Monday, I asked people to imagine that wherever they go this week, they leave trails of stardust in their wake, and that everyone they pass somehow feels lifted and they don't even know why. So maybe you decide to do that game this week. Imagine trails of light and joy and blessing and stardust trailing behind you in your wake, and buoying up and lifting each and every being that you come into contact with, whether it's a phone call or an email or a Zoom meeting or in person, that you leave behind the perfection of you. Thank you for joining me this evening on my Wednesday Wisdom Talk. It has been my joy and my honor to be with you this time. I'll be back again the second and fourth Wednesday of March. I look forward to sharing this space with you. I'm grateful again for your presence in the world. You are meant to be here. Continue to discover what that means. And I'll see you next time. Make it a great day. Bye.